Hey, greetings, Dwayne. Time to do a recap of today's Concierge Trade Alerts and also the one trade a day. We put a special out last night, an introductory offer. It was late going out, and then today we had another great day. Uh, we were blessed. I don't know what else to say. And I said on the radio show that I would extend the offer through tonight. Now, I had intended to get this video up earlier today, but I had two incredible mentoring sessions this afternoon. We have two of our new partners, I should say, joined in the past, I guess, month or so. Of course, everyone always has anonymity here, so I don't, just to give you an idea of the diversity of people who become CFRN partners. We get people who are brand new to trading. They've never traded anything other than a baseball card. And we teach them from the ground up. We teach them charts, what's a candlestick, what's a trend line, and then the other side of the coin. I had the extreme pleasure to spend an hour this afternoon with a gentleman who was a broker back in the 70s with one of the big name brokerage firms that you used to see their commercials on TV. Their name was a household name, but I'm not going to use it. And then he went on to be a fund manager, had 25 million under management. And I'll be doggone if the second mentoring session this afternoon, I only had two this afternoon, followed up with a gentleman who also had a somewhat similar story. He did work on the floor and then went on to become a money manager, and I believe it was 300 million that he had under management at one point. So I say that not to boast or to name drop, simply to say that is the diversity that is CFRN. So no matter where you're at on Trader Mountain, if you're just getting started, if you've been at it for a while, you've taken a couple of licks, and you want to come at it with a different approach, remember Einstein said it best: insanity is to continue to do the same thing while expecting different results. If we're going to get different results, we have to do something different. And I think everyone will agree, even those maybe who aren't keen on our methodology, that it's different. Right? Good or bad, it's different. So anyway, it's been a great day. You know, sometimes it's Monday. Yeah, we all have our Mondays, but today I had a Monday. It was a great day, and spending time with those gentlemen really buoyed my spirits because now they're making a transition from something very different to being on their own, away from an office full of people. You know, where they're captains of the ship, and now they're kind of by themselves, and it's them. It's them and their money and their account, and it's a different world. And the fact that they have chosen us to help them in this transitionary phase in their life, man, I am honored. I'm humbled, and yeah, it's not the first time. We have a lot of transitionary people. And also, that's why we're so big on anonymity and confidentiality and privacy. But you know what? Tomorrow, when the phone rings and it's a brand new guy who's never traded before and says, "Will you help me?" that guy or that lady is going to get the same amount of attention that those two guys got this afternoon. The brand new guy who just has enough money to pay for his education and just get a brokerage account open so that he has unlimited access to the simulator. I'm going to work just as hard for him as I'm going to work for the other guys. That's a level playing field. So let's get kicking and get through this recap. One trade a day, if you're not familiar with it, it's just cfrn.net/one trade a day. Stick a hyphen in between each word, and here you are. Now, when you get to this page, you'll get a little bit of an explanation about what one trade a day is and what it is not. It's not a way to escape learning how to trade. It's a stepping stone, if you will, a bridge, if you will, to take you from where you are to where you want to be, a way to earn while you learn. But the end game is that you ultimately become guru-free forever. You never have to depend on another human being to do what you need to do in the markets. Now, if you are successful and choose to hire someone to put on and take off trades for you, hey, there's nothing in the world wrong with that, okay? Nothing at all. And some people are happier. It allows them to remain the visionary, what they'll do with their money, how it will be spent. They're more interested in that side than they are in the technical nitty-gritty of how it's created and produced. But you know what? I think everyone, no matter whether you're going to trade your own account or have someone trade it for you, I think for you to understand the fundamental underpinnings of it all is critical. Just in the off chance that you ever lose that guy, the one you trust that's been trading your account and doing a great job, just in case something happens, you're not left in the lurch. You can step right in, do it yourself. Here you can reference the last 4 years of our public work. It's on display. Go have a look. Are we perfect? No. Do we get stopped out? Yes. Are we better looking than the average trader? Absolutely. I'm just kidding. We're just two guys with computers, internet, a passion for the markets, and a passion to teach what we've learned. I mean, when you get like a piece of really juicy news, I'm not going to call it gossip, right? But when you learn something that's like, whoa, I mean, you're like bursting at the seams. You can't wait to tell somebody, right? I mean, you want to share the good news. Like Mary and Martha that Sunday morning long ago. Man, they couldn't wait to get back to the house and tell everybody the good news. It's kind of how Michael and I are. I mean, I can't say we stumbled onto something. We worked our behinds off and struggled and got knocked down, and we got up again, and we got knocked down, and we got up again, and we got knocked down, and we still got up again. And we said, God, if we ever crack the code, we're going to give back. And we are. We have. We trained for several years at no charge whatsoever. To the degree, there were so many people involved, so many moving parts, that we either had to make this our primary business or just trade. And that was a tough decision. And as some of you will remember, I went to Machu Picchu and sat on top of the mountain, didn't shave my head, didn't wear a burlap sack, didn't eat out of a simple wooden bowl. I took my luxurious mane, ate like a king, and wore my Ralph Lauren polo shirt, button-down collar, white, sleeves rolled up. A quarter of the way, Jim. Not up to your elbows, but that's another story. No, I'm just teasing. And I came back and I said, Michael, let's do this. Let's trade, but let's take this, together we made this decision, let's take this educational arm that we've created of CFRN. So CFRN was in existence before the educational arm. The Christian Financial Radio Network, we were financial talk radio before we began the educational part of who we are. My goodness, now we're in our second decade of teaching traders how to trade. And every day just gets better. The bonus I put up last night, once you come here and click, do you want to trade 2 markets, 4 markets, 6 markets, or 8? It's $75 per market per month. It's a minimum of 2 markets. So you'll get trades every day that look just like this. You'll come to this website. It's password protected. You'll put in your username and you'll put in your password, and it will reveal that day's trade at exactly 10:30 a.m. Eastern. I have no doubt that the day is coming soon when at 10:30 a.m. Eastern you'll see spikes in these markets. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, the bonus, it's still up, so you can still take advantage of it. Now, I've put it off. It was going to come down this morning, but I've been very busy. And then it was going to come down tonight. I'm still busy, but it's got to come down. Otherwise, people will say, man, that guy said he was going to take the bonus down, and he didn't. So, I got to. But for the moment, it's still there. Now, if you go there and it's not there, I apologize, but I'm going to leave it up at least a couple hours after I publish this video. You get 1 month of Concierge Trade Alerts free. That's the bonus. It's huge. That's a $499 value. Again, huge. What do we charge for the Concierge Trade Alerts? It's $14.95 a quarter. Annually, that would be $6,000, but we give you a price break. If you go with the annual rate, it's $5,000 per quarter, $14.95. Now that's real money. People really pay that money. So when I tell you that I'm giving you 30 days of Concierge Trade Alerts free, that's a real $499 value. That's not one of those as seen on TV, inflated, hyped up 30 DVD set bonuses. This is real, the real deal, real money. It's a real value. It's a real bonus, and it really is going to go away. So, not trying to twist your arm or high pressure you, just saying, if you're going to become a 1 trade a day trader, if you've already made up your mind, don't let the bonus slip by. That's all. And if you haven't made up your mind, then don't rush into anything. Take as much time as you need. We're not going anywhere. God willing. Been here over a decade. I'm looking for at least another couple decades before we turn in. S&P 500, Dow, Russell, bonds, crude, gold, euro, soybeans. You pick the market you want to trade. You're going to print out this form. Either one. There's a Word document. There's a PDF. Click it. There it is. Print it out. Right there. Sign it. Scan it. Email it back to us or fax it to us. Okay? It's that simple. Now, the first thing we're going to look at, if you'll notice, I normally have an hourly chart up. You know, I have a 30-minute chart. Well, let's go to the 30-minute chart. This is what happened hourly today. Let me just go to the 30-minute chart I created. Okay. That's not it. There we go. Okay. Last week's zones are still on the chart. As you can see, they've done a fine job today of holding the market. This was the Globex open last night. No. November 8th. November 6th. Right there. Okay. Let's go ahead and highlight that with an arrow. And so last night we had two Concierge Trade Alerts that said to consider being long above 2096. That produced a 7-tick gain, not 8. Our daily goal in the S&P is 8 ticks. Our goal period is $100 per contract per day. Whether you've worked your way up to 3 contracts, 5, 10. Now, there are certain qualifications that have to be met before you can increase the number of contracts that you trade. In fact, before you can even trade live, you have to put together 10 days back-to-back in the simulator before our blueprint is going to give you the green light to go live. You need 10 days back-to-back before you go live. Why? Because unless you can prove to yourself that you're consistently profitable, it would be like just throwing away money. And that's not why you're doing this, right? So, Globex opened last night. We get 7 ticks, not 8. Not quite there. The alert also said to consider being short below 2089. Now I'm going to show you. Give me 1 second. Okay, here's the Sunday night alert. Okay, S&P, ES, long above 96, short above 89. They went out at 8:15 Eastern. Okay. So when we triggered 2089 this morning, all right, in the first 30 minutes, we dropped down to 2086.50. So that's 2.5 points. Now, we believe that important prices in important areas are almost always tested. So from 2089 to 2086.50, that's 2.5 points. This was 7, not 8. This is 10, not 8. Price then gets back above 2089, triggers a second time. We drop down to a swing low of 2086. 3 points. So we get 2.5 points, 3 points, and then here comes the grand slam, 24 points. And look where price turned, right at the weekly trading zone from last week. Now, partners have the new weekly trading zones. They're working off of those, but for the public, I can display last week's zones. And this week, by Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, I'll display to the public on the radio show this week's zones. All right, so that was the Concierge Trade Alerts from last night. But what about these guys? S&P. Now, this is published at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, after the London Open, after the Wall Street Open, after the 10 a.m. economic news that we have most days. We give the market 30 minutes to digest all of the things I just mentioned. Then we give you our best trade. I'm usually pretty convinced at that point whether or not the market is going to rally or decline. However, because I've been wrong once or twice, okay, 3 times. If I think the market's going higher, I give you my very best long trade. I defined the entry to the tick. Not in the neighborhood or we're going to start nibbling in, none of that. Okay? Long above 2084, that means 2084 and a quarter on a stop, period, to the tick. If it turns out the market heads the other way, then you're going to be short below 2068. So that's 2067.75 on a stop to the tick. It's the first place you can be short below 2068. So nothing ambiguous, nothing nebulous. That's the deal. Okay? And so, obviously, it was the short side today. Now, let's go find the 1030 candle. It's right here. At 1030, we actually rallied a little bit. And when did we catch our payday? Right here, 2068. Now, remember what we said about important prices, important areas, almost always tested? Get another chance to show you that in action. Even on the one trade a day. Price comes down from 2068, puts in a swing low in this half hour of 64.75. From 68, I should write that on there. Alert 2068. 2068, okay. So this 1030 candle puts in a low at 64.75. Now, if it had gotten to 64, that would have obviously been 4 points. So this was 3.25. That's in the first half hour. 3.25. Now, in the next half hour, important prices, important areas, almost always tested. Price goes up to 68.25. That's all it takes is one tick above, and then down we go again. This time we put in a low at 62. From 68 to 62, whoa, 6 points. Now remember, our daily goal is only 2. So we had the Concierge Trade Alert for those who subscribe to that. Now we're on the one trade a day. 3.25. Reset. 6. Reset. And on this reset, we get down to 64.5. Which is going to be 3 points. No. That's not right. 68. To 64.5, it's going to be 3.5. So we got a 3.25, a 3.5, we got a 6. And on this one, okay, let's look at what happened. 2068, it dipped down to 66.50. That's 1.5. But then where did it close? It closed at 70.50. Okay? So you get 1.5 here. That's what the market makes available. At 4 ticks, we take our stop to break even. And so on the next move down, we get all the way to 2065.25. 2065, so that's going to be 2.75. Yeah? Yeah. 2.75. Okay. If you were trading one contract, just one, and the S&P 500 was one of the markets that you've chosen, you paid for your subscription. Even if you have chosen all 8, you paid, between everything that's on the screen there, you paid for your subscription. Now, is that going to happen every day? No. Will some days be better? Maybe. Will some days be worse? Of course. Will there be some in between? Yes. That's the truth about trading. If you haven't read the piece or listened to the audio podcast, The Truth About Trading, go to the One Trade a Day webpage I showed you and at least listen to the audio file. Okay? I think it's really important that you hear that. Okay? All right. So now let's go to the next market that triggered. That would be the Dow. All right. On the Dow, the Concierge Trade Alert for the Dow said to be short below 17,820. 17,820. That's not the Dow. That's the Dow. 17,820. We had a 210-point drop. The first drop was 34 points. You only need 20 to make the daily goal of $100 per contract per day because it pays $5 a point. So 20 times 5 is 100. But it actually fell 34, came back, and now the big one. That's a $1,000 per contract drop. Now, nobody gets out at the exact swing low. Why? Well, because that would just be freaky. If you know a way to know that the market's going to drop exactly 210 points, I want to buy you lunch and dinner. I might even buy you a house and a car. What we do is we have hard targets that we trade to, clearly defined, nothing nebulous to the tick. And once we're trading multiple positions, we then trail part of our position until the market comes back and says you've had enough and stops us out with profit. Okay? Now, on the One Trade a Day that was published at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, remember, the Concierge Trade Alert was published last night at 8:15 Eastern. The One Trade a Day is published at 10:30 a.m. Eastern this morning, short below 17,670. There's 17,670 right there. That's what the little arrow's pointing at. Okay, 17,670. And the swing low was $610. So 670 to 610, that's 60 points at $5 per point. So the potential was $300 per contract. Okay. On the bonds, we did not trigger on the One Trade a Day with the bonds. There were several markets we didn't trigger on the One Trade a Day. We didn't trigger on the bonds. We didn't trigger on soybeans. We didn't trigger on gold. There will be days when that happens, okay? So what does that mean it didn't trigger? Well, you put your trade on, or your broker put your trade on for you, and it just never triggered. Some days that'll happen. Now the trade is valid until 10:30 the next day when the new trade comes out. So if you still have a bracket order on, it could trigger. But let me caution you, if you leave a trade open from the Monday session to the Tuesday session, in other words, at 5 p.m. this afternoon, if your trade has not been triggered, you need to cancel that order, wait for the market to reopen at 6 p.m. Eastern, put the order back on. You're not going to get charged a commission unless it triggers, okay? Put the order back on. Otherwise, you're going to be subjected to the full margin. The bonds, the intraday margin's $1,800 per contract. You're not risking $1,800, you're risking 8 ticks, which is $100. But the margin you put up that you have to have in your account to place the trades, $1,800. S&P, Dow, Russell, 500. That's all you need. Now, they call them day margins, but even though it's dark outside, you still have access to the day margins. You just can't hold a position open from one session to the next, okay? All right. So we covered the Dow. Here's the bonds. On the Concierge Trade Alert, we said to consider being short below 151.22. CBZ5. We dropped 10 ticks at 31.25 per tick. It's $310 per contract if you got out at the exact swing low. How many ticks do you need to make your daily goal? 4. 4 ticks will pay you $125 per contract. Once you get up to, 3, 4, 5, 10 contracts, that's pretty substantial. However, you don't get there overnight. You start out with 1 contract. That's after you qualify to go live. See, what we do here is we teach you how to build a business. If you're looking for a weekend in Vegas, you should go grab a weekend in Vegas. We're teaching you how to build a business. Now, we may be a little too slow-paced for some people. Oh, that's old-fashioned. That's horse and buggy. Well, we're building a business 1 brick at a time, and we're making sure that we have a solid foundation. The cornerstone of our foundation is your ability to make $100 per contract per day. Because when you get up to 5, or you get up to 10, or you get up to 20 contracts, guess what your goal is when you come in every day? Make $100. Oh no, 10 contracts is $1,000. Yeah, okay. Let the back office do the math. Your job is to make $100 a day. From now to the rest of your life, your goal is to make $100 a day. If you're trading the S&P, you can grow your business as big as you want. I said, if you're trading the S&P, you can grow your business as big as you want. Okay? You want to trade 20? You want to trade 50? Okay. But you get there 1 contract at a time. When you go live with your first contract, we will insist, we can't make you, but we're going to insist anyway, that you increase your account balance by $2,000 before you add your second contract. Then, once you've done that, we're going to go on a calendar-based schedule. And at a preset schedule, you'll add your 3rd, your 4th, your 5th, all predicated on you not falling off the road into the ditch. Because if that happens, we've got to hit pause. We've got to pull you into sim. We're not going to leave you to bleed out on the side of the road or on the trading floor. We're going to bring you into the safety of the simulator. We're going to do some troubleshooting. We're going to figure out what happened. You proved you had the skill set. You got to whatever level you got to. 3, 5, 8, 10 contracts. But then something snapped. Sometimes too much money. Just the sheer thought that we're making in a day what our parents made in a week or even a month can cause us to fall into some stinking thinking. All right? And sometimes we have to work on that. That's why I want you to stay focused on the $100. Okay? You can smile at the end of the month when your brokerage statement comes. All right? But for today, keep your shoulder to the wheel, your nose to the grindstone, and just make your $100. Okay? All right. On the euro. On the euro, we had an alert to be long above 107.65. 107.65. 6 EZ. The first move, we got 30 pips or ticks. The euro pays $12.50 per tick, so you only need 8, and you're done for the day. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. Second go around, we got 23 pips or ticks, whatever you want to call them, times $12.50 per tick. This 30 pip move, what is that? $360. 30 times 12.50. Yeah, 375 looks like. But again, you're going to get stopped out on the pullback. So you're not going to end up with all 30 ticks. Maybe you get 20, maybe you get 25. Maybe you take your 8 and go. Maybe you take your 8 and say, I'm done for today. I made my $100. I'm out of here. Next, soybeans. No trigger. We didn't trigger on the alerts. We didn't trigger on the one trade a day. No trigger. On the radio show today, I did set up a longer term trade in the dollar for everyone. So I'll give it to you as well if you weren't able to be on the radio show today. What we're looking for is a pullback in the dollar into this support area. All we need is one tick inside, and then we're looking for another leg. You've heard me say that markets are always building legs in one direction or another. Leg, retrace, leg, retrace. We're going to take the next leg. If the market gives us one, we're going to go long at 98.81. One tick above 98.80. We're going to be long, and we're going to take profit, or we're going to take most of our profit, some or all of our profit, at about 99.30. Okay? All right. Stick around. This is a multi-day trade. I'll keep you posted. The Dow, we already covered that. The Russell. Okay. The Concierge Trade Alert last night for the Russell said to be short below 1195. RLMZ5. 1195. 18-point drop. At $100 per point. The S&P is 50 a point. The Russell is 100 a point. This is a 30-minute chart. Normally I'm showing you hourly charts, but tonight I'm showing you 30-minute charts so that you can see what happened with the one trade a day. Okay? Now, Concierge guys were short from 1195. The one trade a day folks got short at 1183. Okay? Which is right where this line is. 1183. Now, let me just $11.83. One trade a day. OTAD. Okay, on the first move down, we got down to 1179. So that's 4 points or $400 per contract. As you can see, it continued further. Then it got back up to, it went, I think it was 2 ticks. I have to move that. 3 ticks. It went 3 ticks back above. That resets the trade. So if you missed this one, you didn't get your points for the day. Here's opportunity number 2. And what does it do? It drops 4 points, $400 per contract. Okay? It drops more than 4 points. It actually drops, let's see, from 1183 to 11. The swing low is 77.40. So 83 minus 77.4. So that's $560 per contract. So it dropped a little more after I looked at it today. Now that's the potential. That's what the market made available. Doesn't mean that's what you made. It means that based upon the entry we gave you in the one trade a day and what the market made available, 400, 560, and then this one dropped to 1178.1. So let's just go 78 to 83. That would be 5. So that's $490 third move. $490. I remember. It's easy for you to say. $490 per contract potential. Okay. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. You may have heard that before. It's true. Now, if you go to the One Trade a Day page, you'll see, let me show you. You can go to all these places and you can see 4 years of consistent results. But that's history. Just like those of you who got the email last night and you did not take advantage of the offer for whatever reason. I'm trying to make you feel bad. If you take advantage of the offer tonight and the same thing doesn't happen tomorrow, well, that's called trading. See? Whatever happened in the past is history. Past performance is no promise of future results. So, just because we've done really, really well for 4 years, by the grace of God, doesn't mean tomorrow is going to be a sunshiny day. Pray it will. Now, if past performance is no indication of future results, then what is? I mean, how do you judge something, gauge something? How do you know? Well, do your due diligence. Go slow, trade small, one step at a time. That's why we built the One Trade a Day a little bit differently. Month-to-month tendency. After your first month, if you decide it's not for you, all we ask is that you give us a 5-day notice, okay? Just as a courtesy, so that way we don't bill you for the next month. If by chance or happenstance or whatever you want to call it, you ended up getting billed after you clearly had sent us an email that said, you know, I want to cancel, I'm going to be out of town, I can't trade, something's going on, whatever the reason. If you accidentally got billed, we just refund your money. You don't have to fight and argue and carry on. You got to do is ask, okay? Piece of cake. Okay, the only other market is gold. Gold, unfortunately, did not trigger, period. Didn't trigger on the Concierge Trade Alert. It didn't trigger on the One Trade a Day. Now, look at how long gold has been basing here. We had this huge move down on Friday. And after the huge move down, we went flat for the rest of the day. Sunday night we opened flat. All day Monday we're flat. Does this mean that, like, gold has settled down for a long winter's nap? No. It's resting. It's consolidating. Some people call it coiling. Think of like a spring or a rattlesnake. What does a rattlesnake do before he strikes? He coils up. This thing is getting ready to blow the roof off or blow the floor out. One of the two. If you're a concierge client, you already know what we think about tomorrow. The concierge client trade alerts are in the wind. They're already in your inbox for tonight. If you don't get those, if you want to be alerted tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. what our trade for the day is on gold, all you got to do is go to where? One Trade a Day. That's it. That's right. That's us. And at the bottom of the page, you can get a hold of Michael and I at any time, support@cfrn.net, or give us a call, 949-42-EMINI. It's been my pleasure spending a little time with you. Thanks so much for letting me into your home, into your office, into your life. Many of you every day now for over a decade. You've been more than kind. I thank you for your kindness, and I hope to see you tomorrow in the live trading room.